Imagine digging into the earth, expecting maybe pottery shards, maybe old tools, but finding something far more chilling. Deep in southern Peru, about 450 miles south of Lima, in the remote Echo River Valley, archaeologists uncovered just that, a site called El Curaca. And what they found inside an ancient stone tomb forces us to rethink everything we thought we knew about a lost civilization. Picture this, a large circular stone crypt. Not a simple grave, but a deliberate communal burial chamber. And inside, the remains of 24 people, men, women, children, all together. But here's the gut punch. Every single skeleton showed signs of horrific violence, fractures, weapon wounds, injuries that almost certainly killed them. Every single one. This wasn't a battle between warriors. The presence of women and children points to something darker, more devastating. A raid, an attack on an entire community, wiped out in a single brutal event. The evidence screams interpersonal conflict, a clash between groups ending in tragedy. But then, the story takes a turn you wouldn't expect. Despite the sheer violence of their deaths, these 24 souls weren't just discarded. They were buried with care, with respect. Each body was carefully wrapped in textiles, following ancient Andean tradition. They found grave goods, pottery fragments, yes, but also complete vessels in a distinct style called Chuquibamba, or sometimes aruni, stone and bone tools, small carved objects, wooden artifacts, even corn cobs, and perhaps most incredibly, reports mention a stone inscription found right there in the tomb, possibly bearing 24 names. Names attached to individuals who met such a violent end centuries ago. Suddenly they aren't just skeletons, they're people remembered, perhaps even honored by those who survived. This pottery, the Chuquibamba style, is our link. It connects these individuals to a known, yet mysterious, pre-Inca culture that thrived here roughly between 1000 and 1450 AD, a time before the great Inca Empire, known as the Late Intermediate Period. The Chuquibamba people left behind intricate rock carvings, petroglyphs, but few written records, little grand architecture. They are enigmatic, which makes this tomb, El Curaca, an absolutely priceless window into their world. It tells us they experienced brutal warfare, maybe more common in that era than we thought, as older empires crumbled and new powers hadn't yet risen. But it also reveals how they responded. They didn't just dispose of the bodies. They built a significant tomb. They gathered grave goods. They wrapped their dead. They possibly inscribed their names. This wasn't a hurried cleanup. It was a deliberate act of remembrance, maybe even reverence. Were these fallen heroes, defenders of their community? The level of care suggests these weren't just ordinary villagers. It feels ritualistic, purposeful. This discovery, made by an international team led by Professor Joseph Zikulski from Poland, starting in October 2024 and shared widely in April 2025, stands out. We know of other ancient mass graves globally: the Crow Creek Massacre site in North America, the Tollense Valley battlefield in Europe. But El Curaca's combination of violent death followed by such an elaborate, respectful burial is striking. It's not ritual sacrifice like the Chimu sites found elsewhere in Peru. It's clearly the aftermath of conflict, met with a profound need to honor the lost. And the research is far from over. Scientists are using 3D scanning to study the bones without damaging them. They're painstakingly conserving the fragile textiles. Analysis of the pottery and tools will reveal more about daily life and connections. And the most exciting part? Ancient DNA analysis. If successful, it could tell us if these 24 people were related, part of the same families. It could map their genetic links to other groups, painting a clearer picture of the ancient Andean people. So what does El Curaca truly tell us? It's a story etched in bone and stone, a story of brutal conflict in a world we barely know. But more than that, it's a story of the human response to tragedy, the need to remember, to honor, perhaps even to name the dead after unimaginable loss. It reminds us that even in the face of violence, ancient communities held onto values, rituals, and a deep respect for their own. How many other stories like this lie waiting, hidden beneath our feet, ready to reshape our understanding of the past and maybe even ourselves?